So let's get back into this. The life I have in the future will be determined by the thoughts I hold. The thoughts I hold are my intention. There's two types of people in the world: those who hold thoughts of their current circumstances, and those who hold thoughts of a purposeful life they earnestly desire. Listen to this. Since thought charged with feeling creates my beliefs, and my beliefs are the seat of my habits, and my habits are what determines my actions, and my actions create my circumstances, I have a very simple decision to make. Will I continue to focus on my circumstances, which reinforce my current beliefs, habits, actions in life, or will I create a new intention in my imagination, charge that purposeful intention with feeling, and render unto myself new beliefs, habits, actions, and a life? This is really the essence of all what the ancient ones talked about. So I said we'd get back to creation, and I will, Davene, right now. So you are a creative genius, and this is actually, I am going to go to the science thing and ancient wisdom simultaneously. Science, Dr. Land was hired by NASA to find creative geniuses to help perpetuate the program, the NASA program, in the 60s. And he was having a hard time finding any of them. So he started testing people at a younger and younger and younger age. Okay. And anyway, as he went younger, they get slightly higher, because it was testing out at about 1.5% to 2% of the people were creative genius. Of course, they all didn't want to come to work for NASA. He got down to 5-year-olds just on a whim, and 98% of 5-year-olds test out as creative genius. So number one, there's a creative genius in you. However, Land talked about with B.F. Skinner, and B.F. Skinner deserves all the accolades, if not more, as Jung and Freud. People, for some reason, they don't even know about Skinner, but Skinner was actually the first behavioral psychologist. So what happened to the creative genius? You went to school. That's what happened. And you were taught 3 basic things. Remember that the school system was formed by Rockefeller in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He paid $600 million, and he told the people that he hired to create the school system. I want it modeled after the Prussian school system. In case you don't know what that means, you can be anything you want to be. You can be anything you want to be, but you better follow the rules like everybody else. Go to the principal's office, 3 trips there. You're going to get kicked out of school and live in a box under a bridge, but you can be anything you want. That mixed message, because what Rockefeller told the people designing the school system, which is still in place today, is I do not want thinkers. I want employees. And so you went to school as this creative genius, and you started to learn. So little boys do it, so little girls do it, so black kids do it, so white kids do it, so yellow kids do it, on and on and on. But basically, you were trained to follow instead of think. Rewarded when you complied, and punished for developing your individuality and gifts. And worst of all, to compete instead of create and collaborate, which is your nature. That's how we're born. We're born empathetic. When I reach for this can right here, you have what's known as, right now, you just instantly had a mirror reaction. The same parts of my brain that lit up to reach for that can, the same parts yours did. That means we were born empathetic. What does all this mean in terms of creativity? We were born to create and collaborate, but we were taught to compete. And whether you realize it or not, you spend a lot of time comparing, and comparison steals joy. So all that to say one thing. What we really try to do on this live, and we'll be adding more. Hey, Brian. Aloha. How you doing? So nice to see you here from the old neighborhood. Which old neighborhood, Brian? Okay. I think the Massachusetts area. But anyway, hey, True North is here. And that's what we're really talking about. I'm glad that name just popped up. Aloha, True North. Peace and love to you too. What you have to realize is that there's actually more messages from the heart to the head than from the head to the rest of the body. It's unbelievable, but your heart is the compass. I love that there's this new thing out there right now, quote unquote new thing that surfaces about every.
Osterville, Cape Cod.
Oh, Osterville, Cape Cod. Yeah. Right on. Right on. My first house. I bought a house in Osterville, Mass for $9,500. And man, I wish I had that thing today. I thought I was going to get rich. I sold it at 17,000. Thought I'd never have to work again, Brian. But anyway, so this whole idea that you're creative and we get conditioned into picking goals that aren't ours. And so I love this little thing that comes up every once in a while. See, Dave, I remember to go back where people are talking. There's little messages. You see them, nice little posts, and good for them. God bless them. But they're missing the point. What are they saying? This metaphor comes up, or this idea about the compass was invented before the clock. So don't worry about how much time it takes to stay on track in the direction you're going. It's nice, but it's got nothing to do with what the original metaphor about that was all about. What it really means is the clock represents your head. That's that social reactive self. You're reacting to life, and you've ignored the compass, the true north of your heart. Your heart already knows what it wants. And when you listen to that, when you hear that, and you find a purpose, hey, Rev 7, great to have you here. When you feel that purpose, you don't need any inspiration and you don't need any motivation. I mean, I don't get all the stuff with motivation and motivational speeches and all that. You either want to fucking do something or you don't. It's really that simple. And if you need to get revved up about it, need somebody from something outside to stoke you up, what it should really tell you is it might be a good thing, but it's not really your heart's desire. You're here for this much time. Blink of an eye. Blink of an eye. The planet's been around 4 billion years. Put your 70 or 80 years in that perspective. It's the blink of an eye. Don't miss it. So we're talking about how to manifest. And I always laugh about that because I'm hearing all these videos. How to manifest. I'll show you the secrets of manifestation. You've been manifesting perfectly, Marvi. Great to have you here. Mary, I'm so glad you're here. Aloha. You've been manifesting perfectly since you've been 12, 13, 14 years old, depending on what kind of house you grew up in and how much independence you were given at the beginning. Here's the deal. The subconscious runs the show. Its perception of reality creates your reality and beliefs. And you are, just like I read earlier, you are an out-picturing the circumstances in your life, or an out-picturing of the things that you believe inside. In other words, the world within creates the world without. This is Buddha. You are what you think about all day long. This is Jesus. According to your faith, be it unto you. And of course, neuroscience is trying to commandeer all this. It's interesting, years ago, science didn't want anything to do with the spiritual ideas. Now they're taking those same spiritual ideas, validating it and claiming it as their own. And, that's just ego, and that's fine. I'm not okay with it because it tends to lead people to think that change is going to be comfortable, convenient, and instant. And it's not. Change to become something great. And there are no common people. Of course, if you're going to measure by the world's idea of great, then you're into the third of the three things that they teach us in school, to compete instead of create and collaborate. Once you're comparing, you're dead in the water because they keep moving the goalposts. And I'll get back to the goalposts in a second. Let me write that down. Okay, honey. Okay. She says, I don't finish thoughts. And sometimes I don't. I get rolling. But basically, what happens is nature is the teacher. I go sit in the jungle about an hour to 3 hours a day. And the reality is all the answers really are in nature. Some people believe that's a child of God, nature, to teach us. And all change in nature, all growth in nature, a seed, a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, it's not comfortable, it's not convenient, and it certainly isn't instant, but it's magnificent. So to create change, to transform. Most people, and I did for years, which is one of the reasons we love doing this call, for years, I was buying other people's bullshit about what transformation meant. You know, it was a bigger car, more money, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I don't know if you've ever been involved in any kind of home-based business or side gig or whatever, but they're all built on comparison and competing. And even if you hit a goal, as soon as you do, they give you, hey, you know, Harry hit, you know, I don't know, regional vice president or whatever. And Harry, here's your new number. If happiness is on the other side of the goal, and this is a moving goalpost, honey, and they keep moving the goalposts, you never get there. And cognitively, we've learned that the brain isn't wired that way. An interesting thing, study done by Sean Aker from Harvard, $5 million study. He decided to study happiness rather than depression. He was a psych major and a master's in it. And what he found out is that doctors are 17% more accurate on their first diagnosis when they're happy. Salespeople are 37% more effective in 2/3 the time when they're happy. Okay, you perform better at happy or neutral than you do at negative. The problem is we all have what? A predisposition to negativity, because the number one thing in the subconscious mind is self-preservation. And since we're taught to compete instead of create, as my beautiful wife, the fabulous Davene, likes to say, that fires up the amygdala. Harry's going to do better than me. And our amygdala, our subconscious mind, sees it as a threat to our existence. Threat to our existence when we are competing rather than connecting and collaborating. So one of the things that we try to do is help people help themselves understand that they are creative geniuses. This was from the Dr. Land study of Nassau. He tested 5-year-olds looking for creative genius, couldn't find any at 30, 29, 28, went down to 5-year-olds. 98% of you tested out as a child as a creative genius. But he followed those people for 25 years. By age 30, only 2% tested as creative genius. Now, both Land, who made a remarkable discovery, and you can Google that shit or go to YouTube and watch his a TED Talk. It's amazing. You've got to recover that 5-year-old. You know, actually, even the master teacher said, you can't enter unless you do like a child, okay? Childlike, right? Not childish, but childlike. It's a celebration to be alive. You're a creative genius. What do you want to create? But most of us get conditioned into, this will make you happy. This will make you successful. Here's the big three. But big one is mostly, this will make you fit in. And whether you realize it or not, we're constantly seeking approval from other people because we've been taught what? To compete instead of create. And so we want to find our group that we fit in with. So I absolutely love little parables. And so I want to tell you about motivation and heart's desire and all that stuff. There was a deer that wanted to cross the river, and he gets, the river's kind of flowing, and he gets down to the river, and he says, well, I'll cross when it calms down. Okay, I'll cross when it calms down. Now, there's really two lessons here. And of course, the river just keeps whooshing, and a few hours go by, day and a half, 2 days, 3 days go by, and the deer dies of thirst, standing by the side of the river, waiting for it to calm down. It's always going to be flowing. You must be willing to step into uncertainty. The dopamine hits that the self-help industry doles out is why it's a $51 billion industry. It's going to be okay. Here's the secret to success, blah, blah, blah. And these things feel good. They don't want to tell you three things. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be convenient. And it isn't going to be instant. So what would make that deer actually cross the river? I say the reason he didn't cross the river, right, is that there wasn't something that he wanted bad enough on the other side. And so if you're not moving towards the life that you think that you want, that you've been conditioned to believe will make you happy, make you successful, and make you fit in, if you're not moving, you are not lazy. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm sure that they're fine objectives. They're just not your heart's desire, because you would step into a raging river, you would throw a plank, you would find a way to get across if people that you loved were on the other side and they were going to die unless you got over there. What you have to realize is that you're on the other side of that river, okay? And so one of the things that we're hearing now is about, and again, quantum physics is trying to horn in, that you have two particles that are really the same. So they're separated, but they're not separate. And whatever happens to this one is going to happen to this one simultaneously. So all you have to do is see yourself as this great person in the future, and everything will work out. It sounds wonderful. It's absolutely a misrepresentation of what it takes to transform. You must find the purpose of your heart. You must listen to that intuitive visitor, or as my friend John Novello likes to call it, the silent architect. You have to find your truth. Number one, let's go back to the very beginning. When I was talking about the fact that neuroscience now talks about, megacognition. They've discovered megacognition. Jesus talked about it. Socrates talked about it, was know thyself, know thyself, know thyself, not the conditioned self. And an easy way to do that is think about what your next thought is going to be right now. Think about what your next thought is going to be right now. The reality is, you can determine what your next thought is going to be, but most people say, I don't know what my next thought's going to be. That's because they're waiting to live, been trained to live this reactive life, which is what the machine wants. The machine does three things: scare us, actually four: scare us, divide us, demoralize us, and then bring us to the circus once in a while and say, everything's going to be okay. Okay? And so you need to move off that and move into the fact that you were made first class by first class, and you're entitled to go first class as long as you do a first class job of being in service to other people without expectation or reciprocity. And how do you do that? You find your purpose, the purpose of your heart. Because when you find that, hey Marvy, great to see you here. When you find that, everything changes. So bottom line is, you're driven by your subconscious mind, and if you don't observe your own behavior, then you can't see what your beliefs are. And you're just giving conditioned responses to yourself. We'd love to know what's going on with you, what's happening for you, and decide for yourself where your heart's desire is. Are you struggling with that? How can we help you? We're discussing manifestation and the power of your inner compass. Anything else than that? All the people out there peddling the dopamine hits, God bless them. They're doing, everything's going to be okay, and I can help you find what you want. It's all nonsense, and it's not good for you. Everything you need is right in here. And to learn how to draw that out of yourself, it's not going to be comfortable, it's not going to be convenient, and it's not going to be instant. So if you're looking for someone you're thinking about learning from or supporting, if they're telling you it's going to be comfortable and everything's fine and all that and convenient and instant, chances are you're just going to repeat the same behavior. Okay.
Everyone disappears.
Yeah, everyone disappears.
Tell them it's easy. Tell them it's comfortable. Tell them it's going to be fine. There's not going to be any pain involved. But sure, you can have everything you want in life. If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
Yep, exactly. Great to see you here, Candace. It's just a wonderful time. Hi, Sherry. How are you? What's going on in your lives? Do you know what you want? One of the questions we like to ask people is, what do you want? What's your purpose? I don't want to know your goals. See, goals, there's a process that the illuminated ones from before Buddha, the Christ, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Nietzsche, Marcus Aurelius, boy, Stoicism is a really started that whole thing. Really pretty simple. What do you want? What do you want? And most of us pick conditioned things. We're picking from conditioning. Hey, Gary, great to have you here. So what are you struggling with? Do you know what you want? Do you know what your heart's desire is? Or are you picking goals? Because the way it works is you've got to get in alignment, and we run this, in the past, it's been a course for $1,000. It's a 2-day thing. We'll actually be doing it late August, early September, called a Vision Workshop, free, read my lips, FREE, nothing for sale before, during, or after. And if you go to the Vision Workshop, you get an early application for the Master Key Experience, which is a course we've been facilitating since 2010, actually before that, but 2010 online. And that you can't buy that. That's all done with scholarships. Everybody gets a scholarship. And so we have a limited amount of slots. So what we do, obviously people that go through the Vision Workshop will help you get in alignment. There's 4 things that you do before you pick goals. But most people out there saying, pick goals and take massive action. And if you failed at that, or because one of 2 things happens when you do that. Number 1, you get quote unquote the thing and there's no fulfillment whatsoever. Or secondly, you don't do it, and most of us fall into that second group. I did over and over and over and over again. And the reason is, it might be something that's worthwhile, but it's not yours. It's somebody else's idea that will make you happy, successful, but mostly fit in, okay? We see this with home-based businesses, network marketing companies in particular. You know, you've got to get to a certain pin level to get the respect of others. If they don't respect me when I come in, they're not going to respect me when I get to that level, because there'll just be another and another and another level, and this is moving the goalpost. And if happiness is on the other side of the goalpost, we never get there. And that's that Sean Aker study, great study out of Harvard, where he studied happiness. And when people are happy, what he discovered that's remarkable, when you're happy, see, you do end up hitting the targets that you want, because people are more effective at happy or neutral than they are at negative. And all of us think we're positive, but we all have a negative basic attitude until we do the work, which is not comfortable, it's not convenient, and it's not instant. Until we do the work. So, Wet Posey, how did I leave you crippled? What did I do to you last night? Okay, I'd love to know that. I don't want to cripple anybody. But anyway, and so this is just this wonderful thing that nobody knew until just recently, that when you're happy, you know, endorphins are released. I'm sure you know that. And that's sort of a chemical that's running through your body that makes you feel good. What we didn't know about endorphins is that not some, all the learning centers fly open. This is why when you are trying to create a new habit, and by the way, the stuff about it, 21 days, bullshit. Doesn't take 21 days to establish a new habit. Hey, we just passed 5,000 hearts. Appreciate that so much. Please keep tapping the screen. Please share this live with other people. You know, it's so important for you to know what you want, because when you do, you find that one thing. There's a great movie called City Slickers that Jack Palance won the Academy Award for. And it's just him and Billy Crystal out on the trail. In one section of the movie, they get separated from the whole team. And Billy Crystal's kind of like looking for himself and trying to discover life and all that. And Jack Palance says, "You city folk, you just don't get it." He said, "You all come up here about the same age, wondering what life's all about, blah, blah, blah." He said, "You know the secret to life?" And Billy Crystal says, "No." And Jack Palance says, "This." And Billy Crystal says, "Your finger?" He says, "No, one thing. You find that one thing, and nothing else don't mean shit." Okay? When I decided to write, combine the ancient wisdom and science with those 2 best-selling books, Nothing else mattered. I didn't give a shit about anything else, what people thought or anything. And the really nice thing is I simultaneously became a better person because I liked what I was doing. It wasn't that sometimes I didn't like what I was doing, and sometimes I really didn't want to do what I was doing for work. But once I did that, and by the way, there's no money in those books, okay? The idea of writing a book and making a lot of money, that's another fairy tale. But by doing that, it opened up the possibility of online courses and things like this that we could do for free, and which is why we give the Master Key Experience to people on scholarship. You can't buy it. Hey, Sassy, thank you so much. So nice for you to be here. This is just great, and love you too. And basically, I found that one thing, and that one thing I'm not sure what you mean, Dave. But anyway, I found that one thing. And after I found that one thing, everything changed. I mean, everything changed. My relationship with Davene, my relationship with myself. By the way, about relationships, there's another place people get hung up. Any relationships that haven't worked out in your life, that didn't work out in my life, it's because we don't have a good relationship with ourselves. And I'm coming right back to the same point. We don't have a good relationship with ourselves when we are chasing manufactured purposes in life rather than the true purpose. This is the compass of the heart. So that thing that's out there all over the internet right now, and it surfaces about every 2 years, you know, that the compass was invented before the clock, okay? And they're saying, so just stay in the same direction. No, that's not what it's about. The clock would represent your head in that social reactive life that we have, and the compass would represent your heart. That's your true north. So happy to see you here. Sassy, glad you're here. Dave, did you have something that you wanted to share that I kind of dropped the ball on a little bit, babe?
Negative.
Okay. So someone said I crippled them last night.
Stop it, Mark.
Okay. Well, I just thought it was from a post that bent their mind.
You wish.
Yeah.
It's from somebody who's not very well, so we just want to ignore it.
Okay. Because that goes back to me. See, I'm 77. So Dave, that's a flashback to the 60s, man, when you'd hear somebody say, "Man, you just wrecked me." Right? So that's what I thought. Anyway, it's all good.
Yeah, I know, which is adorable.
Yeah. Thanks for that help. So, what's on your mind? Are you struggling to find that one thing that changes everything?
I can tell you it took me a long time, and the one thing has changed over time as I get more aware and more awake in the world, and not just wondering what next thing is going to make me happy, what new car, what piece of jewelry, what new appliance. You know how I love my appliances. To figure out really what is it that I want? What is it that I want to happen in my life? What do I desire? Not what can I attain? That's the mistake that so many people make. And by sitting on, we're on a social media platform, so I feel silly saying this, but sitting on social media platforms and just frying your brain for hours scrolling is not going to bring you what you want. You have to do something, and you have to start by doing the work. And if you can identify, I highly recommend you go to markjquiz.com and take the What's Holding You Back quiz. And the great thing about it is there's no paywall, there's no fees. You get your results instantly. You don't have to pay for them, because we believe here at Training Solutions and the Master Key Experience that one of the great joys in life is being in service to other people. being in service to our fellow human beings. And that's what we're doing here. And that's why we're sharing here. And Mark is a wealth of wisdom. So if any of you guys have a question, you don't understand, you're looking for more in your life outside of material things that break, fall away, rust, or can be stolen, if you're looking for the true treasures in life, go ahead and ask a question.
So, such nice words. And yeah, thanks, Davene. Sassy, thank you so much. You're being so awesome. Love to know what's on your mind. You're being of great service. We appreciate it so much. So this is out of the I Verity. There's 7 verities in that book, which are 7 ancient wisdoms. And that we've been talking really, I've been talking around it, but let me get right down to it. The greatest mechanism on the planet is between your ears. The greatest mechanism on the planet is between your ears. Yet most people know more about their cell phone and their favorite social media platform. Thank you so much, Sassy. Their social media platform, they know more about that than they do about this magnificent mechanism between their ears. It is, you are a creative genius. We've been over that, the Dr. Land study. Just look it up. Go to YouTube and just put in Dr. Land TED Talk. It'll blow your mind, because that creative genius is still in each and every one of us. And my wife's totally on board for different reasons, because she's a different personality type. We love watching people over a 6-month course that we have wake up that creative genius in them and let go of all the bullshit that they've been conditioned. This will make you happy. This will make success. This will make you fit in. And so it gets down to this. Here's the big thing, is that you have to make a decision. Are you going to focus on the circumstances of your life, or are you going to focus on the intention in your life? Now, here's the challenge, okay? Here's the challenge. The challenge is the conscious mind is where that little creative space is. Mahalo for all the roses, Sassy. We have lots of flowers here in Hawaii, but I'm always willing to take more. Thank you so much. And so, we have this idea that that's creative, and that's our intention. But your subconscious mind has an identity, and that identity is driven by one thing, and that's to keep you alive. So your identity is always going to defeat your intention until you get yourself into a mastermind alliance with people that are healthy, that will keep you on track with plan and purpose, and let go of some of the nonsense. It takes 21 days to create a diet. Not to create a diet, but to create a habit. Okay, diet is a habit. Okay, which is really awesome. Okay, so you want to use your imagination, and this is out of the I Verity, the book Standing Tall. I actually created the word giraffe, GIRAFFE, 7 letters. The 7 letters in giraffe, each one represents a verity. This is out of the imagination verity, and it's what Dave was talking about, okay? And this is one of the big realizations in this verity. Life is without meaning. It always has been, and it always will be. While others foolishly waste their imagination trying to understand the meaning of life, I now know that life simply is. That is it. There is no mystery, no riddle to solve, and no deep philosophical meaning. Life does not give me meaning because it has no meaning. The only meaning my life will ever have is the meaning I give to it. And I give meaning to my life by deciding what my purpose is, and that purpose is found in my imagination. I love this. The master architect created a masterpiece in me, and I now make my life the same. Okay, this is just so important, because this is what Dave was talking about. You want to sit and think about what you really want out of life. I begin each sit with the following statement: I know my ideal. It manifests because it's good for me, takes no one else's good, is founded in service, and represents the source of all good with respect. I think that's so important. So this is kind of cool to be talking to you about this, because all I did was take the great ancient teachings and kind of weave them into a little workbook for you. I don't write books. Those are not books. They're workbooks, because the conscious mind understands the book. but nothing changes. And if you've read self-help books like I read, my average person that buys one buys 7 more, but nothing changes in their life. I had about 30, 35 of them, and I could quote them and I could pontificate on them, but nothing was changing in my life until I learned that the conscious mind understands the concepts, but the conscious mind isn't running the show. The subconscious mind is running the show. And guess what? It doesn't learn by reading. There's all the time some of you have been on here. Thank you so much for all the likes. You're amazing. Congratulations. You're awesome, Sassy. The subconscious mind does not learn by reading. So those are not books, they're workbooks. And I'll show you with shameless book plug here. So this is a Verity, right? I just print them out because it's easier to work this way. So here's a Verity. This is the I Verity. And then this is, you spend 14 days with this Verity and you're doing something on it. And first thing in the morning, last thing at night, which is when you're in the theta state, which guess what? That's when you can influence the subconscious mind. There's only 2 ways to get to influence the subconscious mind. One is in the theta state. That's when you're sort of falling asleep, but you're not asleep yet. And when you first wake up. And the other one is by enthusiastic repetitions, okay? And so this workbook, and that has a workbook in it. And when people work with us, and of course, I'm trying to enroll you in the idea of enrolling in the Master Key Experience, not to enroll in the course, but to enroll in your life. So we can help you help yourself find that one thing in the Vision Workshop. And then in the 6-month course that we have that you can only get a scholarship for, you can't buy, you're enrolling in your own life to learn what you must do to break the conditioning in your subconscious mind and resurrect this creative greatness and genius that's within you.
Jerry Maguire, help me, help you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was hanging on by a thread and I dug that about myself. Okay. which is really fascinating. Let me see if I can find this for you. This is another.
I just want to give everybody a little example. Instead of studying and trying to influence my subconscious mind, because I know influencing my subconscious mind is the only way that things are going to change or I'm going to achieve the life that I desire. So I was scrolling on YouTube, sadly, and I saw this thing that was like, name 100 movies in 3 seconds. And I was like, how could you possibly do that? So I clicked on it, and it was 3-second clips of 100 different movies. And they just showed you one clip of a movie for 3 seconds and you had to guess the movie. Well, you know me, right? I was killing it. And I wasted a good 10 minutes of my life on something that will never further me in any way, shape, or form, won't improve my life in any way, shape, or form, or the lives of the people that I love, or get me the things that I desire. I just totally wasted that 10 minutes. And if anybody on here can identify with that, what you want to do is go take the quiz. markjquiz.com. I said it too fast the first time. markjquiz.com. And it's about what's holding you back. Because that wasted 10 minutes just put my brain in a totally wrong place for me to improve in any way. So if you can identify and if you want to change things, go to markjquiz.com. It's free and your results are free. There's no paywall. And it's going to give you some great information. It'll lead you to a page that has like a 10-minute, 15-minute video that explains all about your type and the ways that you can improve. So I'm just urging everybody to go do that because it doesn't cost anything. And it will put you in a good mindset instead of a wasting your life mindset.
Yeah, it's such a great thing, honey. So let's talk about your imagination, which she's talking about, because one of the things that I can guarantee is holding you back. If you're honest and you are killing it, man, we'd love to hear from you, because we love people that are killing it to share how they're killing it. But this is really important. Again, this is your imagination. This is the creative part of you. The reason this is the second verity is it all starts with gratitude. As long as you are feeling sad or mad, which is really the same thing, different personality types. Davene gets sad. She's a blue personality type. I get mad because I'm a red personality type. Okay. And so this is really important, is that the pathway, if you feel those things, if you feel frustrated, whatever, take the quiz, because there's something holding you back. Let's talk about what's really holding you back. Number one is a lack of gratitude. Things work out the best for people that make the best of the way things work out. Oh, Sassy, no kidding, you're a yellow. That is awesome. Yellows are optimistic. They're all about adventure, and they're all about having fun. And you're making this so much fun for everybody. So grateful for you. So gratitude is the G verity, the first letter in giraffe. And then I. So what we do in that workbook is you're not even picking the thing, your ideal, until you've been expressing gratitude for 28 days, writing out 3 gratitudes a day. Soon it moves from being a list into a grateful heart. Now you're choosing from gratitude rather than doing what most people do who make goal statements. And my wife will validate this. She's looked at over 10,000 goal statements, statements of purpose, vision statements since the mid-90s. Over 10,000 of them, and over 96% of them, Sassy, are negative. They want to pay off their credit card debt. They want to pay off their mortgage, fix their retirement. They're all about what they don't want, which to try to hang on to dignity. They're trying to get back to zero. That's not a purpose in life, okay? You focus on the purpose. Of course, the uneducated mind will say, yeah, but I can't go for it until I get this other stuff taken care of. That's backwards. You go for the thing you really want, and the subconscious will start clearing that stuff up too, because it wants you to experience liberty, okay? So this is out of imagination. The life I have in the future will be determined by the thoughts I hold. So this is what Dave was saying, if you don't change your thoughts like Miriam has, if you don't change your thoughts like True North has, if you don't change your thoughts like Sassy has, then what are you going to do? You're going to repeat the past, okay? So the life I live in the future is determined by the thoughts I hold. The thoughts I hold are my intention. There's only 2 types of people in the world, those who hold thoughts of their current circumstances, and those who hold thoughts of a purposeful life they earnestly desire. Since that thought, charged with feeling, becomes my beliefs, and my beliefs are the seed of my habits, and the habits are what determines my actions, and my actions create the circumstances. I have a simple choice to make, but here's where it really gets cool. The master architect created every artist, every discoverer, every inventor, and every author used this breathtaking instrument of imagination in the mind to create marvels and miracles. So can you. It's only the world that's conditioned you to think that great is something that's out of your reach. All great is the peace of mind that comes from doing the very best with what you've been given, and following somebody else's plans for success, what the schools taught you, what your parents taught you, what your culture tries to shove down your throat, that effing consume narrative that's out there. It's all bullshit. So the master.
Say hi to Troy Van Dyke.
Troy Van Dyke, we love you, brother. Hey, great video you did for us. Thank you so much. So the master architect created a masterpiece in me, and I now make my life the same. I am the artist of the picture my life becomes. Its beauty is drawn from my imagination. I am the inventor, inventing the life I desire and using my imagination to get a clear mental picture of that ideal, just like Troy did and built his dream house in North Carolina with his beautiful wife. I am the discoverer of new worlds for the person my heart has been yearning me to be. And I want to come back to that. I am the author of my future and no longer surrender the pen to others when writing my future. That's the conditioning. So let's go back to this person. the discover of new worlds for the person my heart has been yearning me to be. You know, all that lack of fulfillment and wondering what life is all about? That's because you're not loyal to the person that you were intended to be. You know, there's a t-shirt that comes out every few years, and we see it on bracelets and necklaces and all that, called "To Thine Own Self Be True." But it was actually written by Shakespeare, who said, "To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the day follows the night. Thou cannot be untrue to any man." Where did Shakespeare get it? He got it from one of the 10 commandments, "Thou shalt not bear false witness." When you are not being who you were intended to be, discovering your truth and living that truth, then you are bearing false witness. And I certainly did that for a long time. I thought my identity was based on the 7 or 8 roles I had: a shrimp peddler, a network marketer, a son, a father, a nephew, and a brother, and so forth. Those are roles. And if you're like most people, and I was, those 7 or 8 roles, you might be an 8 here, an 8 here, a 9 here, a 10 here, a 7 here, a 6 here, a 9 here, and a 2 here. And your whole identity is going to feel like a 2 because you've bought into the conditioning rather than the person your heart is yearning you to be. So grateful that you're here. Just a guy. I love that handle. That's cool. Thank you, Miriam, for pushing us out there. We're up to a little over 8,000 hearts. We'll see if we can't get Miriam on here to share a little bit, or Sassy, what's going on with her. That would be kind of cool. She's just awesome. Always so optimistic. I don't know how to get them on here. Let's see. Whoop.
Same thing you did to get me on there, sucker.
No clue. But
what did you do to get me on?
I don't know. That's what I've been hearing that question from Davene. We met about 32 years ago, and she's been saying to me only, "What did you do?" Every day. I either hear that question or, "Did you even look?" So while I'm off,
every man hears that. Don't worry about that one.
So while I'm off looking for this spiritual connection and an expression of the spirit, and by the way, we want to wish all of you that are here aloha. Aloha when I first moved to Kauai with Davene, which was our dream. And I think it's important that what we're sharing in those 2 workbooks and in the Master Key Experience, and Dave encouraging you to take the quiz, is that you were made first class by first class. But we actually used what I've shared with you on this call and what Davene has shared with you on the call. It's all we did. It's all we did. That's all we did. Nothing extra. Then we shared on this call to move from bankrupt in Boston, Mass, to beachfront here in Kauai, Hawaii. And the dream itself isn't important at all. Our dream is important. How to do it is, and anybody can do it, by separating themselves from the conditioning. If you want to know how you've been conditioned, how the conditioning has affected you, let me say that again. If you're not living the life you want, it's because you've been conditioned. Anybody that doesn't think they've been conditioned like I didn't, you've been perfectly conditioned. How that conditioning plays out in your life, it's important to discover that, because that's your pathway back to the creative genius that you are. That's your pathway back to a life second to none. That's your pathway to following your bliss. What is that pathway? You've got to understand that we all got the same conditioning, but different personality types. It plays out conditioning-wise is the same, but the pattern that we develop is different based on our upbringing and our core personality type. And so Dave's encouraged you to take the "What's Holding Me Back" quiz. What's holding you back from the creative genius that the ancients told us about, that Dr. Land told us about, that B.F. Skinner, who deserves all the praise and accolades that both Jung and Freud got, if not even more. He's actually the father of behavioral psychology. And they all really taught the same thing. It was conditioning, that we were trained to follow instead of think, We were trained to comply instead of developing our own individuality and our gifts. And most of all, we were taught to compete instead of create and collaborate. And of course, when you're competing, you're always comparing. You're always comparing. And so there's limitations that you don't know that you have, that quiz, What's Holding Me Back quiz at markjquiz.com. No paywall. You'll get instant results. And it'll give you some tips on where to get started and how to bust up that pattern for yourself. Believe me, whatever you think you want, you can have it. Okay, you can have it. It's going to take some work. I'm not one of these guys that's going to tell you it's comfortable, convenient, in an instant. I am one of these guys that's going to share with you the fact that there is a pathway, and it's not out there, it's inside, which is why the way that we facilitate is to make you the star in your own life, make you the hero in your own life. You know, there's a great story about a horse that everybody knows. Mark likes his parables, the horse and the gate. Every day a horse complained about a closed gate for years. And then one day he noticed it had never been locked. Many limitations exist only because they've never been questioned. If you are a procrastinator, if you're a fast starter and then you don't finish, these are limits that you've never learned how to question yourself. Why did that happen? So you focus on trying not to procrastinate or to finish what you start. And what you're doing is bringing the problem into your thought process, and the subconscious mind says, okay, to whatever you ask it for. You know, I want to, when you tell yourself, I don't want to procrastinate anymore, I don't want to procrastinate, procrastination's killing me, subconscious mind doesn't get that. It sees the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And what it's actually going to do is keep even the self-sabotaging behaviors in play until you discover what's underneath the pattern. And you can do that at the
markjquiz.com. Yeah, you got to think of your subconscious mind as a young child. I mean, pre-7-year-old child. So one day I went to the bank. My 6-year-old daughter, Jackie, was in the passenger seat. And this is when we had drive-up banks, like a long time ago. So I handed Jackie, my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, I handed her my paycheck and I said, tear this for me. Because paychecks back then used to be perforated. Well, Jackie just took the whole check and ripped it in half. And I was like, what did you do? And I just think it's a great metaphor for the subconscious. If you don't give the subconscious specific, simple instructions, it's not going to give you what you want. And another Shakespeare quote, which Shakespeare got all his good stuff out of the Bible, but he said, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And everybody, every single illuminated and or highly thought of people over the last 5,000 years have said the same thing. What you think about grows. So what are you thinking about? And think about it in terms of you're giving instructions to a young child, right? I am happy. I am happy. If you just walk around saying, I am happy every day and smile, your subconscious mind is going to believe it. Once it's done, it's a done deal. It's that simple. But most people need support. Most people need directions. Most people need a little bit of hand holding. They need to be asked questions because this doesn't exist anywhere in our culture. You're supposed to be awesome, feel great, have a great Instagram, drive a BMW, have beautiful people in your life, wear expensive clothes, whatever. That is never going to make anybody happy. And there's actually studies, there's many studies out there that prove that the second million doesn't make you any happier. It's all been proven. So the way to your truth and the way to your happiness, you need help. So that's why we put the Master Key Experience together. So go to markjquiz.com, find out what's holding you back in the What's Holding You Back quiz, and let's get up over that. Let's do it now.
Yeah, the idea, and again, if you've been on here for a while, I know it sounds a little repetitive, but one of the third pieces of conditioning in the schools was compete instead of create and collaborate, and that's what Dave and I do. We have a course that I'm working right now with Miriam that includes both the 7 laws of the mind and standing tall, but we meet as a mastermind group. We meet with you individually, because we're intended to collaborate. That's the whole thing. And if you're a scripture person, then it's right there in Corinthians, the 7 sonship rights, speaking in tongues, healing, discernment, and so forth, right? None of us got all 7. It was designed that way because we need each other. So we work with you, not so that you'll honor us, but so that you'll honor yourself. But most importantly, it's just like I was reading this whole thing. Before you start sitting and thinking about your ideal, you need this sentence. I know my ideal. It manifests because it's good for me, takes no one else's good, is founded in service, and represents the source of all good with respect. And when we're not in that space, we're chasing false idols. Again, Shakespeare, Socrates, Plato, Buddha, Scripture, this whole thing, thou shalt not, you should be chasing false idols. Now, is there anything wrong with a beautiful home and a BMW? Absolutely not. But it should be a confirmation of your power, because it doesn't give you any power. They will all, 2 things about all possessions. 1, they will all end up in a landfill. 2, you're going to die. So you only, even though you might have ownership of it, you're just renting for the small amount of time that you're here. And if you think those things are going to lift your soul, then you're stuck in competing. You're stuck in seeking approval. And in my case, quite candidly, it didn't feel like ego. It was unconscious. But I was constantly comparing. And I'm telling you, that's what the machine wants you to do. Scare them, divide them, demoralize them, and bring them to the circus once in a while. Once you find that one thing, and where's that one thing? It's not out there. It's not money, although money may be required to live your purpose. I totally understand that. This isn't some tiptoe in the tulips thing. We're realistic. But when you find that one thing, everything opens up for you. The field of pure potentiality and infinite possibilities, it opens up to you, and the right things pick you, and the right people show up. You don't have to worry anymore about setting boundaries and all this shit. All of that boundary stuff, it's all it's wonderful. It's a wonderful half step. But when you respect yourself, because you're no longer living by other people's conditioning, responses, and directions about how you should live your life, the whole world changes. And this creative genius that's in you, again, I'll be really brief here. Dr. Land, hired by NASA to find creative geniuses, couldn't find them until he got down to testing 5-year-olds. Studied them for 30 years. 25 years he followed them. And at 30, only 2%. The ancients told us the same thing. Going back to 2450 BC, we find Jinn, Jinn, a trickster god that was a wish granter. And then we had a Djinn, Djinn. And every single culture on every single continent that didn't even know the others existed, they all had this trickster god, this wish granter, this leprechaun, fairy godmother, Aladdin and the magic lamp, the magic carpet. The reality is, how did this last? How has this lasted for 5,000, 6,000 years? Because it's not a fairy tale. It's not something for children. It lasted because it is a metaphor that science, Dr. Land finally figured out. There is a creative genius in you. The creative genius, Aladdin's lamp, the genie in the bottle, that's your subconscious mind. And the ancients went a step further. They gave us the directions, were the words that we speak, abracadabra. When I say, aloha, Don, glad you're here. SD Media, glad you're here. When I say abracadabra, what pops into your head? Maybe a magic trick, maybe a magician. Well, the word abracadabra is actually two words. Abra, meaning I create. Cadabra, as I speak. It's actually from Judaism, 450 BC. So they not only told us that gave us this metaphor that your mind is a creative genius. You can create any reality that you want, okay? And they gave us the instructions, which are what? The words that Miriam says to herself, the words that Sassy says to herself, the words that Ted Morris says to himself, verbally and in his mind over and over and over again, trains his subconscious, and the subconscious is always obedient to your beliefs. Your behavior will match your beliefs. So Ted Morris keeps saying good things. I know I'm successful. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific, and so on and so forth. The subconscious mind says, okay. And because he's paying attention, the synchronicities of people, places, and things Ted needs to get there, they are always there. Ted sees them. Harry, who wants the same things, he doesn't see them because he's speaking negative things like, never work out for me. Who am I kidding? I'm never going to make it. And the subconscious mind says, okay. The trickster God says, okay. And it grants that wish. So you need a couple of things like Davene was talking about, the support of people so that we can collaborate together. And someone, because my wife and I do it to each other, oh my goodness, it must happen 3-4 times a week each way, me to her and her to me, where we catch each other misstating something, and we'll help each other correct our language because it's abracadabra. You create as you speak. Now, if you create the right words, is a mountain of gold going to come to you? Yeah, whatever that is. And you're going to be impelled towards it, and it's going to be impelled towards you. But again, this isn't the la-la land bullshit that's out there. Oh, you just have to think about it and get in the right vibration, it'll show up. No, it'll be drawn to you and you'll be drawn to it. How will you be drawn to it? You'll see the synchronicities that will lead you there. But the gold isn't going to mine itself, mint itself into double eagles, roll down the hill and hop in your pocket. You've got to do the work. But if it's that heart's desire, and believe me, I struggled with that one. And I loved every minute of the struggle because it was my bliss. And that one took 1.5 to 2 years to write. That one took 31 days to write. Okay. And it's not that I did that one better or whatever, or anything like that.
No, it's because a girl helped you.
It was because a girl helped me here. That's true. And so it's
that wasn't me.
No. Hey, Skype, hey, Kobe, nice to see you here. So the bottom line is, it's so important for you to realize the ancients talked about this creative genius that's in you. It's a matter of written record for over 5,000 years. Now, quote unquote, neuroscience and quantum physics. Joe Dispenza does great work and he's bringing a nice vocabulary, but it's not a new discovery. The Buddha talked about it. The Christ talked about it. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Marcus Aurelius. Nietzsche said, there is no reality, there's only perception, meaning what? You and I are standing 2 feet apart and we're looking at a rainbow, we see it completely differently. Which is what? There is no reality, there's only perception. What do you want to create? And if what you want to create is a copy of a copy of somebody else's idea, that's not going to get it for you. You've got to let go of the conditioning. And I love the story of the deer and the reflection. There was a deer one time, and he admired his antlers, but he hated his legs. And when danger came, his legs were saving him, but his antlers got stuck in the tree, okay? And so this is what's important. What we value most is not always what serves us best. And other people's standards are not serving you best. Your heart already knows what it's want. You need to change that. Van Lannon, aloha. Brad, my business partner, White, which is one of the personality types, always bringing peace and calm, going through major transitions. We've seen Brad went through the Master Key experience, and he was living in the frozen tundra of Green Bay, and now he lives in sunny Florida. And you see him on a regular basis. Not a big social media guy because he's smart enough not to live his life there. But I see this guy with the biggest drinks I've ever seen in my life. So really nice to have him. Anyway, yep, yellows are awesome. Sassy's a yellow. Yellows are about the 4 personality types. And now we're not talking about behavior. Dave and I used DISC. We used the Brooks Group. We've used, oh God, really famous one. Briggs-Meyer. All very good stuff. But they evaluate behavior. Color code that we use tests for your core motive, what really drives you. And so if you're a yellow and your purpose in life isn't fun and adventurous, you're just not going to do it. Blues are about intimacy, reds are about progress, and whites are about peace. And so we find so often when we help people help themselves break down their original statement of purpose is that it's not in alignment with their core motive. They don't even have a 2-word description of themselves. So we'll help you discover your core motive with a test. It's free, okay? Number 1. Number 2, we'll help you develop a 2-word description of yourself that will be in line with your core motive. Then we'll help you find your 2 personal pivotal needs. There's 7. You'll find the 2 that fit with you, and you'll start to see their alignment. And then we'll help you find that one thing. And once you find that one thing, then you set goals. And all of a sudden, so many goals that boy, I wish I had that. They just melt away. You don't care anymore. Will you care about a couple of things? Yeah, I cared about going to fantasy camp, something I always wanted to do. There's nothing wrong with a little fun. But it was confirmation of power. It didn't give me any power. That actually, where it says gate B up there, when I was a kid at 12 years old, I was selling papers outside Fenway Park and always wanted to play there. And because of the stuff that we're sharing with you today, I actually got to play at Fenway Park. Yeah, I was 72, but I did okay.
Yeah, you also hit a double off the monster, which a lot of pros never did.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so great to see you guys here. Whoop. Cancel. Okay. Okay, I think I learned how to do it. See if we can't get guests. There we go. Okay. So if anybody wants to hop in here, we're going to wrap up in 10 minutes. We've got 11 new messages. You guys have just been so great today.
Is that Jason Stewart? How you doing, brah?
Jason.
He's a Master Key Experience alumni.
Yep. So nice to see you, Jay. Guy's done some remarkable things with his life. Fantastic. So it's all really good. Hey, Jason, how you doing, man? Maybe he can hop in here. Hey, Jason.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Beautiful. What a nice surprise. I know you've gone on to have a really successful life. A lot of happiness, a lot of fun. What's going on, brother?
Getting ready to go on vacation. I'm taking the family up to a beach house this next week in Flagler Beach. So life is good.
Yeah. Now you went through the Master Key experience, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How did that work out for you?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. And you've
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's worth every bit.
Yeah. You've gone on to be remarkably successful in multiple things and rolled with the punches. I get bits and pieces of your career. So nice that you're going on vacation with your family. Are you living in Florida?
Yes, sir. West Palm Beach.
West Palm, beautiful. And you're going to Flagler. Nice beach.
Yes.
I lived up in Neptune Beach, which is just outside of Jacksonville. And my son, Derek, had moved to St. Augustine. So we used to run down to St. Augustine. So I'm a little familiar with that area. Great to see you here. Thanks for hopping in, Jason. Thanks for the plug. And hope that you and the family stay healthy and happy. I know you've overcome a lot of tragedy in your life and gone on to relive. And you're one of my heroes, brother. One of my heroes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm humbled and honored. Thank you.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Okay, Dave, you got anything in wrapping up, babe?
That was adorable.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
No, I'm good. Great job. Peace
Peace
out.
and love, everybody. Get to markjquiz.com.